We had a youth recap video about our conference we just had, and that was absolutely incredible. But the week of conference was just amazing. Like, I've never been so tired in my life. My team has probably never, been up that late, all together ever either, and it was getting weird, but we got through it. But before that, the week started after Sunday. Daniel Kellogg invited me to go camping with him. And so as I went camping with him, we were fishing. Me and Daniel Kellogg, and his dad was there. Dan Kellogg from Gold Creek Community Church. He's like the head pastor there too. And so here I am, youth pastor with these head pastors. And we were pulling into the little bay where we camp and stay and everything at the lake. And we're like, all right, last few casts, we're just going to go for it. I hadn't caught anything yet. And I'm like, God, just please show your favor right now. God, I need this. And so we're going, and then Dan Kellogg is pulling his boat up almost in front of ours and casting over our lines. I'm like, Dan, listen, this one's mine. And then Daniel's like, no, I got this. I'm like, no, you guys, I got this. Just wait. And I tell you what, on that cast, wham! Got the sucker, reeled it in. Tristan Kellogg was there. He helped me bring that beast in. And let's show the picture. And that was the monster I caught. It was 18 3/4 inches, just about 19 inches long, and it almost weighed 3 pounds. It was a beast, good smallmouth bass. And then those two, Daniel and Dan, I had to go back to do the conference, so I just left. I'm just drop the mic, peace out, guys, I'm going to go do a conference. And so they spent the entire week trying to outfish me. And they claimed to have caught bigger fish than me, but the rule is pictures or it didn't happen. So I got the biggest fish. You guys got to see it first. Just so Daniel and Dan know. So yeah, give it up for their attempt to outfish me. But anyways, I was just wanting to come into this week, and I wanted to talk about the youth. It's youth takeover, but I always want to use this opportunity when I preach to speak about what's going on in the youth, because people don't know that things are going on. Adults don't really know, because around this time your kids are disconnecting from you and looking for an outside person in their life to look up to. It's just how it happens. You remember being 16, going through puberty, and everything's getting weird, and you don't want to talk to your dad or your mom, and maybe some of you still don't, but it's okay. Jesus is here. This is what's going on, and this is something I want to talk about today, about the hot seat, something controversial in our culture, something in our church, something that we need to take care of as the church, something we need to step into. And so what I want to talk about is just connection. I want to talk about connection in the church. I want to talk about connection with youth, because here's what I'm seeing. As a youth pastor, I have to deal with this all the time. How many of you guys have social media? Okay, be real. There's more than that. Okay, but anyways, it's okay. Don't be ashamed. I'm not going to bash social media. I love social media. I think it's amazing. I think it's great. But what I'm running into as a youth pastor is there's this app, and it's called Snapchat. I'm not saying sharpen your pitchforks. Don't do that. That's not what I'm trying to do. But I'm just creating awareness on this topic. So what's happening on Snapchat, and what Snapchat is you take a picture, snap, and you send it to someone, chat, and that picture only lasts 10 seconds on their phone, and then it's gone forever, or what they think at least. And then it's gone. And so that's what Snapchat is. And then when you send direct messages, those delete as well, unless you go through and save them individually. And so what's happening with young people, I know it's happening in young people too, but what's happening in the high schools, junior highs, everywhere, is young people are taking nude pictures and sending them to each other. And it's weird talking about that, because I have 100 parents please don't beat your children over this. But that's what's happening. Kids are sending pictures, and what's happening is if a guy doesn't send a picture to a girl, he's shamed. But then if a girl sends a picture to a guy, she's shamed for it. And then it's all this drama and all this stuff. And it's something I deal with in our youth group. I've had to deal with these situations time and time again. I've had to deal with like drama in Instagram that doesn't have to do with pictures. I've had to deal with Facebook drama. I've had to deal with all this social media drama over and over and over again. And I'm sitting here and like, why are these kids going through this? Why are these kids reaching out to these creeps? Because what also happens is there are, like, I'm saying protect your kids, parents, with Snapchat. Like, I've been a year and a half free from Snapchat, and I'm telling you guys what, life has been great. It's been amazing, all right? I don't need it. It's been awesome, okay? I am clean from Snapchat, and it's been cool. Like, I talk to people. If I want to talk to someone, I'll, like, call them. It's so weird. All people are like, yeah, what's FaceTime? I'm not going to go there, guys. What's happening, too, is, like, there's adults asking girls or boys in the youth, like adults asking kids for pictures, or they're sending pictures to kids. And that's happened in my youth group. I've had to deal with this recently. I've had to deal with this problem, this issue with Snapchat. I've had to deal with it. Don't get me wrong, I love social media. I believe in social media. Like right now, we can go into all the world and preach the gospel with one little video that'll get viral somewhere, everywhere. But there's some areas of social media that are kind of dark, that aren't safe for young people, that aren't safe for kids who are just trying to connect with someone else. Like I have lost leaders over Snapchat. I have had to kick students out of youth group because of Snapchat. I've had to kick leaders out because of Snapchat. Like, it's a big deal. You know, and as I look at Snapchat, I look to the real issue, and that's just connection. The depth in this, the bottom line, is that young people are looking for some sort of connection. Snapchat, sending nudes, and all that stuff is like a social extreme to connection. But there's still this disconnect. Because I know, like, everyone likes to rag on Gen Z and, like, oh, these guys suck, and they're the worst. They're always on their phones and blah, blah, blah. But Gen Z, I love you guys. I think you're amazing. You're going to change the world, and it's going to be awesome, all right? Millennials, well, we need Jesus. But, yeah, thank you. I'm a millennial, just to let you guys. I'm different, though, all right? I joined the Army, okay? But never mind. But no, everyone rags on them because they're so disconnected. Like, they're always on their phones. They're always, like, on social media. They're never talking to people. And it's an issue. But here's some truth, though. This behavior these kids have been raised up in they didn't just figure this out. You know, this generation is coming into this world, and they're witnessing people who are disconnected, and they're stepping into disconnection themselves. And as a church, that's part of us. Because I'm a youth pastor. I get to see the student side, and I get to see the adult side. I'm, like, grown up now. Like, I don't live with mom anymore. It's awesome. Not a stay-at-home son. Like, it's been pretty cool. I'm married now, too, so it's awesome, you know? But, like, what I'm witnessing is I see there's this disconnect in adults as well. There's this disconnect that us adults have that we're not addressing, that we're not talking about, that we're not moving into. And now the youth are suffering from it. The youth are going through it. And now the extreme of that is having love awaken too soon in their life. In Snapchat, when a picture is sent to them or they send a picture. And believe me, youth, if you're listening, is when love is awakened too soon in your life, there's a cost to it, and there's a process of getting out of it. I've been through it. I went through that in my own life. And what I'm telling you guys is just try to stay away from Snapchat or sending pictures or that stuff. But so what I want to get into is the connection. And with that, can we just give it up for Ruth? I don't want to keep you up here all day. Sorry, you're amazing. But I want to talk about connection. I love that music. It's just so beautiful. Everyone's just like, oh, wow. Like, you're not even listening to me. You're like, this sounds so great. Like, I can't wait to go, like, swimming today. It's beautiful out. Oh, Ryker's talking, right. Yeah. But I see this disconnect between, like, adults and kids. And, like, I see this disconnect in this generation that's being risen up. And I see the behavior, and it's not all their fault. It's some of our fault, too. We're kind of leading them in that direction. And not to be, like, super negative and stuff, but I'm getting to the positive. Don't worry. But I believe, and what I'm going to deliver to you guys today, what I believe God is wanting to speak to the church, that he's been speaking to the church since he walked the earth, is that there's one guy who did connection perfectly right, and his name was Jesus. And I want to go through, thank you, Bill. You're the best. But I want to go through that today because I believe Jesus had the perfect way to connect. He showed the world what connection looked like. He showed the world what we need to be like within the realms of connection and connecting with each other as a church and connecting with people outside of the church and what it looks like to grow the church. And so where I want to go in the Bible first is into Acts chapter 2. Verse 42. But before I start reading and we go into the verses and everything, like I love the church of Acts. I love the book of Acts. But I want to say this is like we don't need to be the church of Acts. We don't need to be the church of Corinth. We don't need to be the churches that were in the New Testament. Because these guys literally had a laundry list of what they were doing wrong, and Paul was like writing them letters like every other day. Like, we can do better than this, but this is the beginning. But the one thing the Church of Acts absolutely did perfectly right was this. And I believe it, and I want to share this with you guys today. So Acts 2:42 says this. It says, all the believers devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship and to sharing in meals and to prayer. A deep sense of awe came over them all, and the apostles performed many miraculous signs in one place and shared everything. Oh, and all the believers met together in one place, and they shared everything they had. I want to stop right there. And they shared everything they had. I want you guys to remember that part as we go on today. I'm a Wednesday night guy, youth group. All right, so I'm going to say tonight, bear with me. All right, Saturday night was last night. Wednesday was youth group. All right, forgive me, okay. Anyways, they sold their property and their possessions, shared the money with those in need. They worshiped together in the temple each day, met in the homes for the Lord's Supper, and they shared their meals with great joy and generosity, all while praising God and enjoying the goodwill of the people. And each day the Lord added to their fellowship those who were being saved. Hallelujah. Come on. That is what church should be like. Right? Thank you. I believe like that's where church should be. Like to where we're in this place of connectivity where nothing is between us. Where nothing is in between any person in this building, in this community, that it doesn't matter what's going on. We'll just be like, oh man, my car broke down. Frank, can I borrow your truck this week? Oh, no problem, I got you. Or be like, oh man, we're short on rent this week. Janice, can you help me out with rent? It's like, don't worry, we're all together in this. You know, I got you. Like, this is how close together they were. And apparently they ate really good too. Hallelujah for food. But I really believe this is what we're called to as a church, what we're called to as a community and as a people. And I believe as Awaken, this is who we are. You know, we're not the church of Acts. We're not the church of whatever, but we're the church of Awaken. And that's who we are, and that's who God's calling us to be. And I believe our next step in connection has to do with this. It has to do with being in community and having connections so deep that nothing gets in the way of what we're trying to accomplish and risking everything to reach everyone. And so... And so what I've lined up were four things. And these four things I really believe in. These four things I believe is the way Jesus connected with the world. Because Jesus did it right. He did it perfect. Let's just follow what he did. Because the Church of Acts is what Jesus was building, was setting up. He had his disciples. He built them up. He raised them up into becoming this church, to becoming this group of people, becoming this community that shared everything. And so, and I'm going to go into these 4 ways we can connect, and we can dig deeper, and we can draw closer to each other. So I want to just go straight into number 1. Connect with God. Super simple, right? Like our number 1 thing in life, we need to connect with God. If we believe in Jesus and we follow him, we got to connect with God before anything else. All over the Gospels, you'll see Jesus spent time in the morning and he was coming down from the mountain after prayer, or he was spending time in the evening and he was praying with God and he was spending time with God. Even Jesus needed the Holy Spirit. And so I say first and foremost, we need to connect with God above all else in our lives. Before any sort of personal connection, we need to connect with Jesus. We need to connect with God. We need to connect with the Holy Spirit. Okay? We need that Jesus connection. You see, Jesus always spent time with God, and he was always there. But I know some of us, I've gone through seasons where it's hard for us to connect with God one-on-one, right? Like, sometimes we're in this season where we can't hear from God. We're like reading our Bible, we're like worshiping on our own with God, but we can't connect. So sometimes when we connect with God, it involves people, because God uses people. God uses people to reach people. And so sometimes it's going to involve people. And at Awaken, we have a space to do that. Wednesday mornings, we have some prayer and worship on Wednesday morning. And then Thursday night, we have like this incredible worship service where we just worship and connect with God. And if you're ever at a disconnect with God, I'm saying go to these people. Go to someone you know that's connected with God. Go into a place of worship and prayer to where they can connect you back to God. So connecting with God is so vital for our health, for our spiritual health, our physical health, and for every part of us. Because you ever notice, like, when your friend's not super connected with God, how cranky they get? Like, I know I get that way, and, like, Kelly avoids me for, like, the whole week. She's like, dude, Ryker did not spend time with Jesus this morning. I need to stay away from it. Like, when you don't connect with God, like, everything starts falling apart. But you notice when you get face-to-face with God, all the problems don't seem to matter. You know, they're not as big anymore because he's so much bigger. Heck yeah, thank you. So that's number 1, connect with God, right? Number 2, get a friend. What? We need friends? Like what Falake was talking about, right? Last week, she talked about Eve being the helper. I'm pretty sure God created Adam and he's like there on his own, and then God's like, man, Adam's acting weird. He's spending a lot of time talking to ferrets and monkeys and, like, turtles, dude. Like, I know turtles are cool. We need to create him someone to help him out because this is getting weird. And so he created Eve, right? You know, we're created to be in community. We're created to be together. We're created to work together, to exist together. We're created for community and relationships with each other. So get a friend. To connect with God is your first thing, but the next thing is you need a friend in your life. Like ask a Gen Z kid, who's your best friend, and they'll be like, haha, you don't have a best friend. Like, remember when you got asked who's your best friend, you're like, Philip, and they're like, oh yeah, that's your best friend. You know, like kids used to have best friends back in the day, but nowadays kids don't really have best friends as much because they have like 4,000 followers on Instagram, and I only have 900, but whatever. But like these kids are in this place where, you know, they're lacking this best friend. But I see it in the church. I see it with people. Is sometimes we lack a best friend. For those of you who are married, your spouse needs to be your best friend. Your spouse needs to be your number 2 to God. Your spouse needs to be that person you are closest to on this earth. Okay? Single people, your boyfriend does not need to be your best friend. It's okay. Find a girlfriend to hang out with, and you 2 girls will be great. Guys, don't make your girlfriend your best friend. It's not going to end well, trust me. All right? So for you singles, or for you people who are married, If you're struggling with connection and you're struggling with finding a friend, get a mentor in your life. Find someone in your life who has just a little bit more life experience than you, who can help walk you, lead you, and guide you. And here at Awaken, we have plenty of people from all different ages, all different faith ages, who've been Christians for 50 years or Christians for 4 years, or they've been around this earth a lot longer than you have. We got some old people, we got some young people, okay? But we have people to mentor you in this church, and they're probably just waiting to be asked. And so my number 2 thing is get a friend, right? You got to connect with God. You got to get a friend. See, Jesus had Peter, James, and John. Those were his guys. John claimed to be the Lord's favorite, but my money's on Peter. We'll find out when we're in heaven. But he wrote it in his own book. You know, write your own book. Say whatever you want. But I'm just saying, Peter did some crazy things. All right, how could he not be Jesus' favorite? He did ask a lot of dumb questions, but he asked them. So. But yeah, get a mentor, get a friend, get someone in your life to speak into your life, because we're not always going to see what's behind us. But that mentor or that friend in your life is going to see what's happening behind you. Time and time again, like I run into like a problem and I'm like, Jesse, everything sucks. And like, I don't know, we're probably going to fall apart next week as a youth group. And she's like, well, actually, this is what's going on. And I'm like, no way. Like, that's awesome. Everything's great again. You know, you have to have someone in your life who's going to see behind you, because you can't see what's on your back. You can't see what's behind you, but your friend or your mentor can. I meet with Daniel Kellogg like every week. He's my mentor. And it's not the easiest thing to do. I try to meet with him every week. I try to fight to spend time with him, because he has way more youth pastor experience and pastor experience than I have. Like, and that guy has so much experience in his life. And when we meet, I make it about me in mentor meetings. I'm like, Daniel, you need to shut up. All right, this is about me. What's going on? Okay, you know, because sometimes I'm struggling. Sometimes I'm going through something. I need a voice outside of my life that isn't just mine, that isn't just inside my head, so he can affirm and confirm the things that God is saying into my life. And so him and I, we try to meet. Sometimes it's just like hanging out. Sometimes he's just like, it feels like I'm getting blasted. Then like at the end of it, I'm like, oh, dang it, you're right, you know. Or sometimes we're just like chilling in a hot tub or whatever, you know. But it's spending that consistent time to build yourself and to grow with your relationship with Jesus. So having a close friend needs to be pointed back to your relationship with God. And so number 3, join a crew. Find a group of people to be with in this church. Find a group of people to connect with here at Awaken. Like, find a group of people you connect with. Find a group of people that you like to hang out with. Like, joining a crew is so important for your health, for your life. Because your one friend's going to get boring at some point, so you're going to need, like, a Kelly to laugh at every joke you say. Like, you need these people around you, okay? I don't need that, but it helps. I'm just kidding. I didn't mean to roast her. Come on now, easy. But like Jesus, right? He had his 12 disciples. He had 12 disciples that he poured into. He had 12 men that he had a part of his life. You know, he had these 12 people that he did life with. And those people knew Jesus. 3 of them got to know him better than anyone else, and one of them was his closest friend. And you see, we need to find a crew of people to be a part of, to do community with, because, you know, just Sunday isn't enough for us. You know, just Wednesday night isn't enough for the youth group. We have to connect on a different level with a group of people who we connect with. You don't have to like everyone. It's okay. But there are people in here that are going to love you no matter what. Like I was saying, I have a friend, Zach. And no matter what I do in life, he's got my back. Like, I could, like, do the wrongest thing. I could, like, almost take over the world and then get stopped by like, G.I. Joe or something and get thrown in prison. And Zach would be there like, dude, I love you. You're awesome, man. I got your back. Like, he's got me. Like, I have Isaiah Marin. I know almost all of you guys have met him because he's a social butterfly, but Isaiah is like one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Whenever I'm having a bad day, I'll be like, hey, Isaiah, I'm not feeling good. And then he'll just like text me back a prayer, and then he'll call me and be like, dude, how are you doing? And then I'll feel like $1,000,000 in 10 minutes. You know, find a group of people that are going to surround you and lift you up when you're going through a hard time. Because God uses people to speak to you. God uses people to move. We're here for a reason. You have a purpose in this room. Maybe you're here to be a part of a group to lift someone else up. But just find a group to be, like, look at ManFest, right? Where are the men at? Claps are good. Yeah, and ManFest, what were the guys you connected with, right? What were the group of guys that you were paintballing, fishing with, or shooting guns with, or just hanging out at the house with? Like, who are the guys you connected with? You know, where are the women at? Kelly's here. You know, women's retreat, right? Wasn't that incredible? I've only heard great things about it. Think about the women that you connected with in your cabin, in that group you connected with. You know, find those people and connect with them outside of Sunday. It doesn't have to be a women's retreat. It doesn't have to be a ManFest for you to connect with other men or to connect with other women. Like, there are people who just want to hang out. Because I know this world is dying for some sort of connection like Jesus. Because if we're a church without the connection like Jesus, we're not doing all right. Because right now, we look at how disconnected Gen Z is. We look how disconnected millennials are, and the world is. But the world doesn't have Jesus yet, but we do, right? And if we connect with Jesus, if we dig into him, if we surround ourselves with people who love Jesus too, man, the connection is going to be so pure and real. You're going to be blown away with how awesome it is. And so, and then number 4, this is my last thing. And I believe this is one of the most important things here. Serve with your crew. Serve with the group of friends you find. Serve with the people that you connect with the most. Serve with them. You ever notice how veterans get along so well? Like veterans who've been to war and stuff, or served in the army. You ever notice how well they get along? Like Marines and soldiers are the funniest thing to watch in the world. A soldier's going to talk trash to a Marine, and the Marine's going to talk trash to the soldier, but we in the Army know we're better than everyone else, so we're just trying to be nice. You know, I served in the Army, all right? I just know it. And I was at the bottom of the totem pole, so I'm not really that prideful about it. But I was in the Army, so I'm cooler than the Navy. I'm just kidding. I love you, Bill. But you notice, that veterans have this thing. They'll just, rag on each other in public, and they've never met each other. But all of a sudden, they're, best friends. It's weird. I used to work at DNL Army Surplus, and this was, day to day. Some Marine would be buying a Marine Corps flag. Here's the joke. How do you know you've met a Marine? He'll tell you within 10 seconds. I love the Marine Corps. My cousins are all Marines because they try to one-up me in the Army and everything. But I love Marines. They got great uniforms. They're really hardcore, kind of scary, really scary. They're great. They do a great job, and they're the best at it, all right? But wherever they go, crayons go missing, and it's really rough. So we keep them out of the kids' area. Anyways, but yeah, a Marine's going to come to me after this and start talking trash about me being in the National Guard and me being in the Army and me being a pogue and blah, 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 blah. And we'll be all right. We have that connection. Why? It's because we've served. Young veterans and old veterans. Me and Bill, him and I connect on some sort of level because we've served in the United States military. And it's our service that has brought the deepest connection. I can call a guy I went to basic training with, and nothing, life has not skipped a beat. We'll just start talking we were just there. I can call a guy I've deployed with, him and I, we're still cool. We're still close. Because we've been through things together. We've served through the hard times. We've seen each other at our worst. Because when you serve, sometimes you see the worst in people, but then the best comes out of it. You see, when you serve, you get into this place of closeness with other people that no one else usually sees. Like being in the friend group, being in the crew is awesome. But when you're serving with a group of people, the connection is so deep, it's incredible. Like, I want to brag on the people I'm surrounded with because they're amazing. What happened at the end of ManFest, the hour we were leaving, my wife called me. She's like, Ryker, I got in a car accident. Backstory, my wife is pregnant. She's pregnant right now too, but she's pregnant and she got in a car accident. And she wasn't giving me all the details I needed to know, so I was starting to freak out a little bit. I don't freak out often, but I was pretty freaked out. You could ask Travis. I was a little stressed in the moment. And I'm like, oh no, like, what do I do? My wife's like, she might be hurt. Now she's trying to go to a party. Like, what is she thinking? Come on, she's not, I don't know if she's that strong, but there's a baby, and I don't know what's going on. And what happened is I had these friends come to me immediately. Once they heard, they're like, hey, Ryker, I know that you don't have a car right now in Wenatchee, so I'm just going to drive you all the way to Sultan to go pick up your wife. I got you. That friend is Wyatt. He's amazing. He's incredible. And he dropped everything just so that I could go see my wife to make sure she's okay, just to see her in person. And then on the way to Wenatchee, before we swapped cars and everything, I had my friend Philip call me. Man, Philip's an incredible friend. Dude, he called me. He's like, hey, don't worry about the tow. I'm working it out with AAA. You don't have to pay a dime. Like, we're just going to get your car to your house so you can get it home and then take care of it there. All right, don't worry about it. Just make sure you see your wife. I had a group of friends just surround me as soon as we got to Awaken, and they just started praying for me, started praying for Jessie, started lifting her up. There was a group of men at ManFest who just stood in the circle and started lifting up my wife in prayer. And hallelujah, she's fine, the baby's okay, and everything turned out all right. You see, I really believe in that. I believe in being a church like that. Because someday I get to flip the bill. Someday I get to be there to give someone a ride. Someday I get to be there to lift my friends up who are down. I get to be there to buy my friend some cheeseburgers because he's super stressed out. Thank you, Travis. And I get to be there to help him out. I get to be there in their time of need. I get to be that guide in their life to lift them up and point them back to Jesus. You see, these men who stepped up, these men who stepped in that day were pointing me back to Jesus by being Jesus in that moment. They're showing love. They're showing compassion. They had my back. They're showing the church. They're showing the community. They're showing who Awaken truly is. Man, I remember the first day I came to Awaken. I still remember it. It was weird. Like, it wasn't this building. It was the old building, so that's why it was weird. Like, I walked in. There's this, like, plywood floors, like plywood, like not painted. It's just plywood on the ground. And then there's this, like, really nice bathroom, and then everything else is kind of rough. And then there's, like, this questionable couch on a carpet to the side. And then I get surrounded by these people who are just so interested in just me. They're like, hey, how's it going? Like, hey, what's up? Hey, my name's Caleb. Or, hey, my name's Cody. Like, all these people surrounded me and start talking to me. And they're like, why are you wearing a tie, dude? I'm like, well, dude, I'm a big deal. What's up? I'd never really been to church before that, and I didn't know how to behave, I guess. But they're like asking me all these questions, and then church service started, and we worshiped, and we went through the message and the movement. Falake preached that week, and she was talking about planting a seed. And I'll never forget that. I'll never forget my experience around people from Awaken, because those people were so connected to God. It's incredible. I am still here because of that day. Because what happened was church just didn't end. Church kept going. Because church is the people, right? The church is us. What happened was Daniel Kellogg's like, hey, you want to come hang out with me and my cousin Ross? We're going to play some pool volleyball. You can try to win, but we're just going to bully you. I was like, oh, dude, I'm in. I'm just kidding. I didn't know the bullying would take place until I got there. But they're just tall, and well, Ross is. That's why they win. But me and Cody beat them a lot. Anyways, I showed up. I went to this house. Flake was there, Daniel was there, Ross was there. There's these people from Awaken who were just there. And I felt included. I felt connected to the church. I felt connected to Jesus because these people knew him. I didn't know God that well, but I knew they did. I didn't know God that well, but I knew these people did. And ever since then, I have felt so connected to Awaken. I want to tell you this, you guys, from the stage, to everyone here and everyone listening online, you guys are my family. Awaken, you guys are my brother, you are my sister, you are my mother, you are my family. Because when you connect in a community, in a church, you become a family. I've risked everything to be here. And you guys have been here in my burnouts, and you guys have made me feel like $1 million. And I want to say to you guys matter. You're incredible. If this is your first time here, just stick around and see what God does in your life, because he's going to change you. It's going to be amazing. And so I just want to point you guys to Jesus. I want to point you guys to what he did. You see, in Acts 2:44, it said they shared everything. They shared everything they had. There was nothing in between them. They shared all that they had. You look at how the disciples lived. They shared everything too. They didn't have much, but they shared. See, church, we need to be like Jesus. We need to look to the way Jesus connected to the world, the way Jesus reached people, because that is the perfect way. I'm going to mess it up. You know, you're going to mess it up. We're going to mess it up because Jesus was the only one that could do it perfect. But man, we can try. We can try to be the church. Because imagine what will happen in this world, what will happen in these schools, what will happen in this valley if there is a group of people called Awaken that are so connected to God that they're all connected in community together. That there's this huge group of people that are a movement of God because they risk everything to reach everyone. They live an only God lifestyle, and they awaken God-given gifts and talents in each other's lives. Why? Because they connect. They're around each other. They connect with God together. They do life together. So I'll have the band come up. And thank you. But I just want to leave you guys with this. I just want to leave you with my heart. I want to leave you with what God's really put on my heart about these 4 things and Jesus doing it right and everything is what I'm tired of seeing and hearing about is cannibalism within the church. Christians tearing down Christians for political views, for theological viewpoints. I'm tired of people ripping each other down. I'm tired of people pointing at the log in someone else's eye or the speck in someone's eye. I'm tired of people pointing out issues in other people's lives. I'm tired of Christians tearing each other down. I want to be more a part of a church that is just so welcoming, so loving, so connected that these things don't matter. To Jesus, it didn't matter what you've done. It didn't matter who you were. He spent time with Samaritans. He spent time with prostitutes. He spent time with drunks. He spent time with the blind and the lame. He spent time with the worst of the worst. He'd spend time with lepers. He'd spend time with the worst people in the world. Who are we to attack each other? Church, we have to be connected. We have to be united. We have to be connected to Jesus and the Holy Spirit and listen to his voice. And we're going to need each other for the times to come. We're going to need each other for the next season. We're going to need to be together in this. Man, imagine what it's going to be like when we connect. So, thank you. I love you, Bill. So with that, I'm going to pray, and we're going to worship, and we're just going to go for it. So Jesus, thank you so much for today.